close to the mic. Howdy, Ags. AP here from the Tailgate, home of the Aggie Football. Brought to you by David Coffin PLC, tax controversy and litigation lawyers. The only tax attorneys in Bryan College Station. Guys, don't forget to email us at agstailgate@gmail.com. Comment on the YouTube channel. Visit us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Don't forget also to follow us on the YouTube channel. More followers, the better. All right, Corey. How you doing today, man?
Oh, man. I'm still hurting from last weekend, the loss. Still a lot of questions. I'm ready for the next game.
All right, so let's get into a few comments from the fans. So a few of our YouTube comments. We got one comment here that says, Jimbo's offense is archaic and overcomplicated at the same time. And he also comments about our boy Evan Stewart. Says he retweeted a tweet from Javonte Cook, one of the UT guys, saying that the difference between Texas A&M and Texas is a good scheme. Texas has good scheme but needs better players, while A&M
has the players.
Garbage scheme has all the talent, right?
Yep.
I'm not real excited at the fact that he's retweeting that at this point. I guess he's a little frustrated after this past game, and I can understand that. But hopefully, they can get him back on board.
Well, he's got a point.
He does.
It's a solid point. I mean, nothing about that. The only thing that sucks is that it's true. I mean, we have better players, and they have better scheme.
Well, another thing that sucks about it is that he's obviously has some frustration that he's outwardly showing towards, the public.
I don't know if you do that as a freshman, but I mean, hey, he's getting NIL money. He's getting paid. So,
Living with Jay tells us wide receivers have been great in both games. Agreed. Yeah. Other than the Evans fumble, Chase Lane's lack of blocking, they probably get an A. So good comment there. I agree. I mean, the wide receivers have been pretty good. Like I said, like we talked about last week.
Why the hell is Chase Lane in the game if he can't block?
That's a good question.
I mean, he's not the most talented receiver out there. He's the oldest one out there. He should know exactly what to do. You see what I'm saying? I mean, he's not out there because he's the most talented guy.
I think he's also getting that because of the fact that Jimbo chewed Lane out on that 3rd and 1 horrible call by Jimbo Fisher. So there you go.
Well, I'm just saying.
Jimbo, keep y'all's chins up, man. He's saying that he knows the feeling of a team losing to a team they've got no business losing to. Back in 2016, the Buckeyes lost to the Boilermakers, and again in 17 versus the Hawkeyes, and it just feels bad. So he's encouraging us to keep our heads up, and those Buckeye teams did turn things around. So there you go.
Yeah.
Cody Scherer. So my prediction for the future: if Jimbo doesn't modernize the offense, then these highly rated recruits will start transferring out. 4-man front for Sam Houston, and it's a shutout. Why switch to a 3-man front against App State? We covered quite a bit of that last week.
Exactly what we talked about on Sunday.
Basic movie time says fire Jimbo. I don't think we're there yet.
Y'all ain't shit without NIL, and never will be. 8-4 again if you're lucky. Well,
there you go.
Yeah.
Gunsmoke. I'm done until King is benched.
Man,
and I do expect that at some point Jimbo's going to take a chance on somebody else if Haynes continues to have issues. Now, I said it last week. I don't think the quarterback's the problem. I think at this point it's the play calling, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think it goes hand in hand. I mean, yeah, the play calling is not well, but even some of those throws he should have made. He needs to make quicker decisions. I mean, you put a better quarterback in that system. I mean, is it still the system? The guys still going to be the same situation, or what? It's going to be the same outcome.
I think in the different quarterback, same system. We're still in the same boat, if you ask me. Some new subscribers: Trenton White and Reggie Holiday. Welcome to the show. Once again, folks, subscribe on YouTube. Love to see the names out there. Little recruiting news. 5-star running back Ruben Owens, who's committed to Louisville, was coming for the game this week against Miami. He says he's no longer coming. Not interested. So
that's rough.
that is rough. And look, everything will play itself out as the season plays out, right? Recruiting will struggle some if they have a bad year the rest of the year. Mm-hmm. It'll get a lot better if the year goes better, right? That's just the way it goes. Maybe we just need to start paying more NIL money. I don't know. Jimbo had his press conference this week, and he sort of was talking about the fact that defense was good. I'm not sure that that's true. The defense wasn't really all that good. We talked about it last week, or the last pod. I mean, and spent a lot of time on it, but I disagree with him. He did talk about Foster back at practice, so he may be getting some reps in there. He didn't say whether there's going to be a starter. He's going to be a starter or not, but he did indicate that he feels like he'll probably get some reps. Obviously, it's determined by practice and how he does there. So, it can't hurt to have more bodies.
More bodies, same system. Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things that Jimbo did talk about, and he got pressed on during the press conference. He was asked about his offensive scheme and whether he would ever consider relinquishing the play calling duties on offense. And he said, yeah, maybe in time. Well, maybe in time is now.
Maybe it's a Saturday.
I don't think that's going to happen this Saturday. But the other thing he talked about is, at the end of the day, ego is not going to be a problem because winning is more important, right? And to that effect, it's still ego, right? I mean, his ego doesn't want him to lose. So that's part of it.
Yeah, that's the problem. I mean, he's going to say all that in the press conference about what happens when the game time comes. That ego still won't take over. He's going to call his plays and run his offense as long as he's the man there.
And here's the thing, right? The problem with it is that if he is forced to hire an offensive coordinator and give up play calling duties because of the poor performance this year, then he sort of loses the team at that point, right? Mm-hmm. I think that's not going to be a good answer either because of the fact that all of a sudden the players are going to sort of lose a little bit of respect. Now, if he does it on his own and sort of transitions into that through the season and does things like that, then I think the players will be more bought in because they see him making the decision on it instead of it being sort of forced on him, right?
Yeah.
Pre-game, brought to you by Carney's Pub and Grill. Food is great, drinks are cold, and women are hot. So, hey, look, night game. Kyle Field this evening.
Yeah.
On Saturday evening at 8 p.m. Miami, the U, coming to town.
Mm-hmm.
Aggies are favored by 5.5. We've got an over-under of 48.5. Miami's 2-0.
You say 48.5?
Yep, 48.5.
Seems really high.
Yep. It seems real high. I'm taking the under.
I think that number's come down to like 45.
It might have come down to 45, which I would expect it to have come down because I would go under.
Yeah, you said what were you expecting, like 21?
I said I might take the under at 21.
Yeah.
So Miami's 2-0, but their wins over Bethune-Cookman. They won 17-13, and Southern Miss, who they beat 30-7. That game was 10-7, I think, at halftime. I went back and watched some of what they did. I mean, they don't look impressive. So I mean, I know everybody's sort of on the bandwagon of, man, we suck so bad, Miami's just going to kill us. Everybody's sort of down on the Aggies. They're still favored, by the way, in this game. But if you go look at Miami, there's a lot of things that they don't do that App State did, especially offensively. So, let's start with their offense. And, it all starts with their quarterback, Van Dyke, right?
Right.
And he's been good. You can tell he's got talent, right? The physical talent's there. He's a big kid, prototypical NFL size. The NFL guys love him because of it, right? Mm-hmm. He's got a good arm, so he can sling the football. But at the same time, he hasn't put up monster numbers against these two teams, right? He's only thrown for 456 yards in the two games. It's not like he's just blowing it up.
I haven't watched him play at all. I'm not sure what to expect. I watched him play last year. This year I haven't seen him at all. So,
looking at what they do, same thing you sort of expect. Gun, and lots of formations. They love to use the bunch sets to try to get their receivers off of rub routes and different things like that, get them open that way. But they don't use the same motions and misdirections like App State did all the time, right? That's not going to be part of their game plan. At least it hasn't been so far. If I watched the film of our defense against App State, I would definitely put some of that in there. But that's a big problem for our defense, right? That's where a lot of times our linebackers or our safeties, DBs, would have their eyes in the backfield and be out of place, right? Mm-hmm. So some of the struggles we had defensively was caused directly by the App State motions, the misdirections, and the different things that they were doing. Not having that in the system for Miami probably helps.
Right.
That's
How did
one
Miami's
thing.
offensive line look when you watched them?
They're okay.
Okay.
They're okay. That's about as much you can say about
What's
it.
What's our offensive line? Is our offensive line okay? I'm just trying to get a
I would say our offensive line has played okay.
So they're about the same?
Especially this past week, they played okay. The first week I thought they played horribly, but
so Van Dyke, is he mobile, more of a pocket passer?
He's more of a pocket passer, but he can get out and run now. He's had some carries and done some things there, but they've got a running back that's been pretty darn good. Parrish has done a pretty good job. 217 yards in 2 games, 4 touchdowns. And he's more of a sort of quick, shifty type of guy. Not like we saw this past week, a big power back type guy, right? He's more of a quick, shifty type. And but if he gets space, man, he can definitely hurt you.
What do you think we're going to run defense? 3 or 4?
So,
I think we have to go with the 4-man front, don't we?
The thing about it is you get in there, and Durkin is a guy that loves to do it, right? He loves to go in and play the 3-man front. He does. He likes to be multiple that way. I don't know.
He wants to blitz. It sounds like you want to blitz out of a 3-4 mainly, right? Because you always want to be bringing people from different areas.
But it's not a 3-4, right? I mean, if you have a 3-man line with 2 linebackers still, or sometimes you drop one of those defensive ends. But at the end of the day, I imagine he's still going to mix it in, right? He's still going to mix it in because that's his nature as well. We talk about Jimbo's nature. Well, this is Durkin's nature, and he does like to use that 3-man line. And the other thing that happens is in a situation where we're having struggles at times, then he goes to a 3-man line because it's his nature, right?
It's not right though.
Which in this team, it's not. This team, it's not the right move. I mean, use the talent that we've got up front and have them sort of keep and occupy offensive linemen, blockers, and that stuff to let your athletes behind them run free, right?
He's doing exactly what he said not to do.
Yeah,
he's overthinking. He's overthinking this defense that you don't need to overthink.
Look, this offense, and their main receiver is their little slot guy, and he's a guy that is smart. He finds open spaces. He gets open. He's done a good job over the first couple of weeks. But they don't have those explosive type receivers, those big time outside guys either, right? So, as you look at this offense, they've done well against these lesser teams for sure.
Oh yeah.
But this offense isn't gonna give you the multiplicity and the misdirection and different things that App State is. Right. Not to mention, they're gonna throw the football, right? So they're not gonna sit there and just pound you like App State came out and did last week. It's just a different mentality on how they operate, right? I think this plays into the Aggie defense better.
See, he ran more of a pro-style offense when he was at Oregon. I'm not sure if he's still running the same thing at Miami. The coach there, Cristobal?
Yeah, but he brought in the offensive coordinator from Michigan last year, right?
And they're more of a pro-style also. Are they running 2 tight ends or 1?
They're usually using the 1 tight end, but they bring the receivers in. They'll use some 2 tight end, and they'll do a lot of bunch sets, right?
Gotcha.
And so they like to use that to try to gain some leverage on the outside. Also to try to use the rub for the receivers and try to get them open through those types of situations, right? So, I mean, the scheme itself is not a bad scheme, don't get me wrong, but I just think that it plays better into the hands of what the Aggies do defensively in that sense, right?
Gotcha.
They're just not going to sit there and power run you to death like App State did.
But why would that beat us? Why would a team like App State be able to power run us? I mean, I understand that we went to a 3-man front. That I'm sure it didn't help.
Yeah, I mean,
but they were doing that even before we had the 3-man front.
No, absolutely, and that's the thing. They were doing it, and to me, it's more about, like I said, the misdirection and motion because. Yeah, misdirection, motion. Now you got guys out of place. Now all of a sudden you're running basically into a 5-man box because one of your linebackers is gone, right? Mm-hmm. He's gone. So now you're running into a 5-man box with a power running game, a big back, and so you're putting the defense sort of in a bind at that point. We have to be smarter about that. And look, if you're getting motion and misdirection from the wide receivers and the guys outside, you need to make your adjustments in the secondary, right? Use your secondary, your 3 safeties that you're implementing right now, and have those guys be the guys that are adjusting, not your linebackers. Let your linebackers stay in the box and play while letting the secondary be the ones that are adjusting to all the motion and different things that way. It's a different story now if the back motions out of the backfield or something like that, then your linebackers have to be aware of that. But when it's the receivers, when it's the guys, the slot, and the guys out wide that are giving you all those different looks, it has to be your secondary that's making the adjustments and shifting over. Whether you're bringing, a safety down in the box and rotating the other safety over to the top, or you're following them man to man, whatever the case may be, they have to be the ones adjusting, right? If your linebackers start to adjust, all of a sudden that's where you're going to create bigger gaps inside. Not to mention, we always talked about it with linebacker play that you have to play as a unit, right? Mm-hmm. And the moment this guy over here is reacting to this motion over here and this guy's reacting to the back, all of a sudden, what are they doing? They're going in different directions. No longer playing as a unit, playing off each other.
Right.
And that's what creates those gaps, which we saw this past week against App State. That's what creates those holes. The other thing that we saw...
Did you see any penetration with the defensive line against that?
I did. Now, it depended who was out there. Because when it was Turner, Rakes, they held up pretty well.
They got just hold up, or are they getting penetration?
No, they got
That's
penetration
what I was worried about, because it didn't seem like we had any hits in the backfield too often.
But once again, if you only got one linebacker in the box, then what's happening? They're double teaming those guys, and all of a sudden you're getting rid of that penetration, right? Because they don't have to go up to a linebacker. There's no linebacker there.
Because that's what we had talked about before, was having those defensive tackles take on so many blockers and the linebackers running free to make the plays, and that's not what I'm seeing happen.
Not last week. It definitely wasn't, because once again, they removed the linebacker with what their system was doing. So this week, I think you really have to talk to those linebackers and work with those linebackers about, look, you guys have to be together, right? This is you guys both have to stay locked in on the running game. Use the secondary to take into advantage all the other things, right? And take into account all those other motions and misdirections. So, because at the end of the day, Shamar Turner, good game. But when he's double teamed, right? And if he's taking on a double team, that's good, right? Because that should leave the linebackers open to go run and make their plays. So, I'm hoping that there's an adjustment here. Now, here's the other thing, right? A guy like Regis, who was big, but he doesn't come off the ball real quick, right? Mm-hmm. He's not a guy that's going to be explosive and create, plays in the backfield. But on top of that, there was times when they were pushing him back. When they double teamed him,
undersized offensive line was pushing him back.
Oh yeah, those juniors and seniors were taking him, and Regis has been on campus for a couple years, but they got in there and they drove him back at times, and he was 4 or 5 yards off the ball. Yeah. And so, to me, he's a guy that's in there probably because McKinley Jackson hasn't been available.
Is he available this week?
Well, he started practicing. I guess it's all day to day, right? But
what about Nolan?
Hopefully Walter Nolan. I'm not sure if Walter Nolan's back in practice. We'll have to check and see. Jimbo's got his radio show tonight. We'll see if he says anything.
Yeah, I got to listen about Jones also. Jalen and...
Yeah, and I'm not too worried about the secondary guys, right? Yeah. Because the secondaries played fine.
I can't believe we're worried about the defensive line.
Well,
I can't believe we're having this conversation about our defensive tackles. I mean, as deep as we thought they were, even missing Jackson and
well, think about this though. If last week that defensive line's not on the field for 40 some odd minutes or whatever it was, right?
Silly, yeah.
Then Regis probably is not in there as much. It's probably more Shamar Turner and Rakes than Regis and some of the other guys, right? So you get it. Everything sort of compounds itself.
Mm-hmm.
Now I will say this, right? If you got McKinley and Nolan back in there, all of a sudden you're pretty stout four deep.
Yeah.
Not to mention Brunlo Dindy at some point coming back as well. You know, he's going to add to that. And I think they said he started practicing. We'll see if we see him on the field at all. So
my whole thought process is that we're not going to wear down on defense, but it seems like we did last week.
We did because
we're so deep at those positions, and
I don't know that we wore
I
don't know that we wore down that much. I mean, because we were rotating guys that weren't as good too, right?
Yeah.
And so, you know, that's some of what's going on there. You know, and you hope that these guys come back, McKinley specifically, right? And all of a sudden that depth and the stamina obviously get better. But the production gets better. McKinley's a guy that's been missed on this defense for sure in the first 2 weeks. There's no question. That guy's the best defensive tackle we have.
Yeah.
100%.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and he's been there
got
for
the most
3 years.
experience.
Most experience.
Most playing time.
You know, he's stronger. All those things. And we saw him in the offseason and in practice in the fall camp. The dude was wrecking shop,
yeah, he's
right?
doing really well.
So at this point, I think that's sort of one of the things that has to happen. Now, if they don't come, should they be able to still hold up? Yes, some of these guys are going to get reps, but you know, you just have to then be very thoughtful about when you're making those subs, right?
Right.
And sometimes it's also about making those subs during the passing downs, bringing in some of those smaller defensive linemen, some of those defensive ends that are still productive, maybe moving a Delier inside.
See, we weren't getting them in those third down and longs last week. We were getting them in 3rd and 5s. They were turning into 4th and 2s, and they were going for it on 4th and 2. And so that's what I'm saying. I didn't see the penetration, I didn't see like the tackles for loss that I expected to see against the App State team.
Well, and sometimes, you know, the other thing that happens sometimes with Rakes, for example, Rakes is a guy that does like to get upfield a lot. But what happens when you get upfield and just go hit a gap, sometimes you just create a hole, right?
Right.
Because now all of a sudden, just like we talked about the linebackers playing together, if this defensive lineman's up the field here and this guy's over here, all of a sudden, look, you've got that big gap. So you've got to be careful about how aggressive you are in penetration also. Take on the blocker, see what's happening, keep control of those offensive linemen.
Right.
But, you know, when it's passing downs, let them go. Let those guys go.
Feel you.
But you always, and that's the thing that happens with this defense sometimes, you know, when you talk about playing sound defense, it's gap control, right? It's all about staying in your gaps, staying under control in those gaps. Because, you get into the pass rush, and you've got your defensive end here and your defensive tackle here, and your defensive tackle comes up in the 3-hole and is trying to rush here, and your defensive end starts outside and then spins back inside. What just happened? Well, we just gave up the end. Right? All of a sudden, quarterback's got an out. So even if you bring the pressure and get pressure here, he's got an escape, right? So staying in your lanes and staying disciplined in that sense is very important. Right. When you have as much twisting and turning and all that thing with the defensive line, sometimes it hurts you because you create
gaps.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Running lanes, yeah.
And so that's why we were talking about during the offseason, what does this defense need to do? This defense needs to just play. Because with the talent they have at defensive line, they should be able to stay within their gaps and just beat their man, right?
Right.
And so I still think that happens. Yes, do you implement some twists, some stunts? Sure. But it's not all the time. It's not, your base, right? That's what
is our base? That's what I'm asking.
The 4-2-5.
It is?
I mean, that's where we start, right?
Okay. That's not where we finish. Usually where you finish is what you go.
Let's be clear. That's not what we played the most of last week.
Yeah.
So, that's one thing, right? And ultimately, I actually think that the defense is going to look better this week than they did last week just because of the matchup and the type of offense that Miami runs. So, let's hope that happens. Let's also hope that Durkin is learning through this process, right? Is figuring things out as he goes. He's only been here for 2 games. I'll tell you this. You know what I felt about the hire? He wasn't good at Ole Miss.
Yeah.
He played well against us, but once again, that wasn't exactly hard to do last year against our offense. So I don't know that you take much out of that, right?
That's what I'm saying.
So I don't know. If you ask me, once again, defensively, I think that team starts to get a little bit better this week. At least they show better against this Miami
Well, they looked
team.
fine against Sam, but that was against Sam, right?
Right. Competition level, right?
But, I mean, is App State that much of an upgrade over Sam?
I think this week we find out more about our secondary, actually.
You think so?
We find out more about our secondary because I have a feeling Miami's still going to try to throw the football.
I'll tell you what, if our offense is inept like it was last week, our defense doesn't have a chance. They're going to be on the field all day again. Seriously. I mean, if it's 3 and outs, and
there's no question.
It doesn't
right?
matter.
It's
it doesn't
team
matter
football.
Yeah, I mean, that's
It's team
exactly
football.
what happened last week.
Well,
but the
defense was inept from the beginning, right?
I don't think they
Even
were.
in the first half, they were giving up those long drives and giving up the third downs and giving up the fourth.
Only gave up 7 points, though.
Yeah, sure.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, absolutely. But they couldn't get off the field.
Right.
Even in the first half, they couldn't get off the field. I guess what I'm saying, I expect the test this week to be on our secondary. And we haven't really had a test on our secondary yet this year, right?
No, App State didn't throw the ball like we didn't think they would, and Sam, it's just Sam.
What's Antonio Johnson going to do against their best receiver Restrepo, who's in the slot, right? How's that matchup going to play out?
What do you have, a pass interference call last week? 1 or 2? Maybe I had 1.
I think 1.
Okay.
But as you look at it, how are those corners going to match up against their outside receivers? That should be a matchup that we should be able to play one-on-one with Chappelle.
I think we should be able to do that against anybody.
Harris.
I think we should be able to do that with anybody with our secondary. Man-to-man, man up.
Another guy that didn't play last week was George, right? So George wasn't out there.
No.
Getting him back would
Neither
also
one of
be
the Joneses played last
one of
week.
the Jones.
I mean, you got George.
Those are, but in all honesty, I don't think it's hurt us that much. I mean, Harris didn't play poorly last week, right? He had the nice play on the called touchdown over the top, and he ended up making the play.
We played Sam and App State. How many turnovers we gotten in those games?
3.
3 or 2?
2 against Sam.
Did we get one last week? I know there was one that got called back because we thought it was a fumble. Remember that?
Yeah, so maybe none last week.
I don't know if we got any last week.
That's right.
So I mean, that's something we expect, though. That's what we were talking about. It's gonna be.
But you're not going to force turnovers when they're just pounding the ball on you, right? You're going to force turnovers when you're rattling those guys, making them make plays.
But we're letting them do their will against us. We should
that's
be
my point.
Enforcing our will on them. We have the talented players. That's what Durkin's missing there.
Which comes back to one other thing.
Yeah.
Right? So, he hasn't been overly aggressive with the blitzes and those types of things. Is he going to start to really bring some guys, let the guys on the outside go play one-on-one, man-to-man?
Yeah.
Let those guys do their thing and then just start bringing some pressure.
If another team is beating you running the ball 50 times, I'm going to get 8 men in the box.
So, yep.
And I'm going to make you not run the ball.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit there and go 3-line and go, okay, do it again. And I'm going to enforce my will on you and say, you're not doing that again.
And you do it, and if they beat you over the top, well. Right, but at least you get your offense
Give our
back.
secondary a chance to make a play.
And if they do, at least you get your offense back on the field.
Make that quarterback get rid of the ball quick. That's what I've always been about this defense. Make that quarterback get the ball, get out of his hand quick, man up. And you shouldn't have to bring that much pressure. I'm talking your 4-down lineman should be able to push and maybe a linebacker.
But we've talked about this, right? They don't have those just pure rush ends. I mean, Fidel Diggs has been
I'm
pretty
not
good.
about the ends. I'm just talking about the interior pressure too. We're not getting that. Jackson, I think, will get it. I think when he comes back and Nolan comes back, we will have that. But we should have had that against App State.
But it doesn't matter, right? Because just like we talked about a minute ago, if the pressure comes inside and the defensive ends aren't getting up, and doing their part either, then there's escape routes on the outside. So you don't have those. I mean, I'll tell you, Fidel Diggs has impressed me, and I've said it over and over again. So, he's going to have to be that guy. The other guy that I think has to be in there during those passing downs is Stewart, right?
Yeah, I got you. Yeah,
Stewart at the defensive end.
Really
he's looked good.
Yeah,
Overton's had some good plays.
I just want to see difference makers. I want difference makers. I mean, I'm thinking not so much Donald from the Rams, but I want guys that are in there getting quick and.
Look, but everybody expects these freshmen to be those difference makers. And
I'm
at the
not.
end of
I'm
the day,
expecting Rakes.
at the end of the day, those
Jackson,
freshmen just
second,
got on
third
campus, man, and we knew you can't depend solely on freshmen.
But somebody's got to step up.
Somebody's got to step up.
They got to step up and make.
Well,
I mean, cause havoc, cause chaos.
Hey, and look, there's half the time those linebackers are getting lost. Why not just bring them?
Because you know what? App State made a game plan, and they did it flawlessly last week. You could tell that. We didn't do a damn thing to stop it either.
We didn't adjust. We didn't do anything.
I mean, what do we do in a second? What do we do at halftime? Did we sit there and, oh, man, it's not a 3-hour rain delay, so let's just, I guess we can't play any video games. I don't know what they did.
Whatever they did, it didn't work.
Jimbo, it's not good.
So, all right, so let's transition over to the offense because this is the other part. You talked about it, right? I mean, if your offense is 3 and out, the defense isn't going to stand a chance. Eventually, they're going to give something up.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, offensively, against them, what you're going to see is 4-2-5, basically. I mean, same thing you see it all over the country, right?
Yeah.
Flag their linebackers, their leading tackler. He's a guy that's involved a lot. He's not overly physical, but he gets to the ball, right? So that's one thing. But as you look at that defensive line wise, they don't have like these awesome cats that are coming off the ball either, right? We've talked about the fact that Miami hasn't recruited like they did in the past over the last couple of years, right? They don't have that same level of athlete out there. I'm telling you what.
Well, I'm not sure about that. I think Miami's always going to have athletes. So is Florida State. Miami had a couple of defensive ends get drafted the last couple of drafts. I know that. Right. But, I mean, I'm saying they have talent.
They're gone.
And what is Miami known for the last couple of years? That damn turnover chain. Remember
it's
that?
Gone, by the way. The turnover chain's gone.
I'm just saying that's what they were known for, is getting turnovers, causing stuff that I want our defense to do. Make shit happen.
Look, I watched them. I'm telling you. Those guys are not the same you as they have been in the past. And they're not. Look, the safeties are mediocre at best.
Yeah.
They're slow to react. They're not good in coverage.
What the hell does that have to do with us, though? What are we going to do? We're going to take advantage of that? Have we done it this year?
Well, that's the question. So now, but we know what we're going to see from them. We know what we're going to see from them. They're going to line up in the 4-2-5. They're going to play a lot of man.
And they're going to try to stop the run, right?
Yes. The defensive line plays with good effort.
That's what I would do against us. I would line up, like I was saying, I would line up and put 6, 7, 8 people in the box and say, hey, you throw the damn ball, because I haven't seen you do it consistently all season. I'm just telling you, that's what I would do.
But on the other end of it, like, why wouldn't you try to get just pressure with 4, considering all the critique that the offensive line is getting, right? The offensive line is getting all the blame right now. So if that's the case, if the offensive line's not good, why
I would get pressured and see what Haynes King does under that pressure. Because what I've seen so far, it's not good. So I think he's going to throw the ball away. He's going to make an errant pass downfield, throw it short. That's how I get my turnovers. I'm just telling you, that's what I would do. I would get in your face and make his feet get happy, and he's going to throw it somewhere. Make him make a decision. If he's Haynes King,
to me, here's the question. I think we know what we're going to get from that Miami defense. To me, here's the question. The question is, does Jimbo come in and adjust what he's been doing? Does he make some concessions? So this week, we haven't been able to run the football. Does he say, let's put 2 tight ends in the game, let's get a fullback in there from time to time, and let's go try to get some power running game going? Because like you said, they're likely going to bring some guys into the box.
That's exactly what I do all day until you show me you can beat me some other way. And you haven't shown it against Sam Houston. You haven't shown it against App State.
Against Sam Houston, they threw it over the top.
They tried to a couple times, and didn't one get picked or 2 got picked? And
but they also scored. They also had 2 60-plus yard plays.
Well, I mean, if you want to tell me 50% of the time we're going to score a touchdown, and 50% we're going to turn it over. I mean, which one do you want?
Hey, just don't do it on first down like you did it against Sam Houston. That's what I say. But here's my thing, right? This team has been 100% all about the run for the last 4 years, right? The base of this offense, and I talked about it earlier, the last pod, I think we missed Spiller at times, right?
But he's gone. You can't use that.
But my point is that we also need an offset back. We need to use those other backs. It's not like we don't have a power back. I mean, Crownover's back there. He's a big old boy. L.J. Johnson's a guy that's a big power back, right?
Right.
Those guys are change of pace from what A-Chain brings. And that's not meaning, hey, look, we got to bench A-Chain. I'm not saying that at all. A-Chain's got to be on the field and get the ball and make plays. And you want to be able to give him his touches, which he's not getting right now. But at the same time, you have to have a change of pace. And I think at some point, a lot of times when we've gone two backs, it's been A-Chain and Ananias. And for all the effort both of those guys play with, neither one of them is exactly a great blocker, right? So if you're going to go two backs, bring in a crown over, or play one of the tight ends in there in the backfield, right? Let them be a blocking type back. You could still take them and play action and put them out in the flats and do some things if you want them to have some opportunities. Not to mention, get them open, right?
I'll tell you, I'm more frustrated today than I was on Sunday after the game because it's giving me time to think about it. And I'm frustrated because we have so much talent. And listen to comments like that guy Cook from Texas. He's right. We got all the talent in the world. You're not talked about it. I mean, maybe not the quarterback sometimes he doesn't make good decisions, but O-line, skill positions, we have it. It's just we're not using it properly, and that's all coaching, right?
Absolutely.
And so that's the same thing on defense. We watch you now put our eyes on him and go, man, that guy, shit, he looks good.
So last week when they put the two backs in there, they tried two different things. One was they ran basically the option, and what they did was they took the back on the play side.
Some of the speed option they tried to run or whatever?
They put the back on the play side, and they sent him out to block, and then the back on the opposite side came around to be the option guy.
Yeah.
First thing that happens is, the guy that you're sending out to block is not a blocker.
He doesn't block.
Right?
Yeah.
He's not a blocker.
He whiffed.
And then to add to it, the spacing between Haynes and the pitch guy was horrible.
Yeah.
Right? So all those things are there. That's going back to the play design, right? The other day, and I can't remember if this was this past week or the week before, they actually went in and ran a zone option where a zone read option. So the guy, they faked it to, I think it was A-Chain inside. The Ananias came on the outside, and now all of a sudden you're running the speed option on the outside with those two guys if you don't give, right? Now it's sort of a double read there. But you're not asking A-Chain to go block a guy that he's just going to whiff on.
Exactly.
So to me, that's a better play. You're better off doing that than putting those guys in situations in which they are not going to be successful. One of the plays last week where the defensive end just blew up A-Chain. They asked A-Chain to come and take and block the defensive end. Why are you blocking a defensive end with A-Chain? That doesn't make any sense, right? He's going to get blown up every time. Hell, the guy's got him by 100 pounds. But to come back to this point is that I want to see him take all that talent at tight end that we've recruited, take the talent at running back that we've recruited, and let's find out. Let's find out if you put as many folks in the box as they've got, can we go man-to-man and just pound the football?
I don't think we can.
I think we can.
I mean, I think talent-wise we could, but I don't think with what Jimbo's calling, we can.
So the other thing and the other question I have is, can we get under center from time to time?
Is Haynes calling audibles at all? Is he reading the defense? Is he calling different plays? Is he looking at something and seeing something and going, or is he just looking at the sideline?
He's calling checks because you can see him from time it's checks, right?
Yeah.
But it's checks that are built in sort of to the system.
Right.
But yeah, so he is doing some of those things. But the question that I ask is, whatever they're reading for those checks, it's horrible because one of those checks was, for example, that bubbled out to number 8, Yo Keith, right? They bubble out to Yo Keith, and hell, they had 3 guys out there for 2.
Yeah,
it
doesn't make any
sense. It was a bad check. So whatever Jimbo's telling them to look for doesn't make any freaking sense.
No, it doesn't make any sense.
Right? The other one was the RPO where he threw one of the first plays of the game. He threw to Evan Stewart on the quick out. Hell, why would you check to that when right down the middle we had numbers in the box? That should have been a handoff all day long, right? The point I'm getting is, once again, just like you said about the defense, you should dictate. He's letting the defense dictate to him.
That's what I'm saying. We've been doing that all season. That's been a reoccurring thing with Jimbo has been the only time I really saw it different was last year in Alabama. That's the only time I saw it different where we forced our will. Like, hey, we got up for that game. Are we not getting up for these games?
So the question is, my point is that, right? Can we get back to really just doing what we do?
Which is, I don't even know what that is anymore.
Well, it's because we don't know what that is.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't have an identity, right?
That's what I want to see, something different this week.
What happened last year? No, that was 2 years ago, right? After we lost to Alabama, we came out against Florida. And we were sort of still discombobulated. But all of a sudden, in the second half, what do? We handed the ball to Spiller like 8 times in a row or something.
Yeah.
But we established the run. We got in there with 2 tight ends. We gave the ball to Spiller, and we power ran right.
Is Max Wright back this week, by the way?
I haven't heard anything about Max Wright, so
all right.
We'll see.
Stay tuned.
I guess that's my point. And then you can still use the wide receivers in the situation where play action. Now you've established a running game over the top. Go get Evan Stewart, a guy that can get open because that dude is fast. Go hit Anaya Smith and situate because he can get open.
Well, see, Jimbo's trying to spread the defense out right now, and the defense is saying we don't care what you're doing.
Don't care.
It's like we don't think your quarterback can get the ball out to your receivers, and we think that your running game's all you have right now. And we don't have either one.
Hey, look, and if they're going to bring pressure and do that, hell, why don't you keep tight end and back in, protect, let your receivers who are still going to get open.
The damn tight end's not even on the field half the time. We got the freaking 4 wides or 5 wides, whatever you want to run. You know what I'm saying?
Because everybody always talks about, so what do you do against pressure? Well, you can go 4 wide and then get the ball out quick. Well, okay, that's one way to do it. That's one way to do it. That's one way to do it. But the other way to do it is max protect and let your wide receivers go make plays down the field. Yep. And especially when a defense is not only in the box, but also they're up in it, right? They're not really going – they don't have a bunch of guys deep. They got their defensive backs close to the ball, right? And so – you just have to be able to do something to establish the running game.
Real quick, do you think Haynes King is that athletic? I mean, I know he's fast, but I haven't seen that. Johnny was athletic. He was quick and can move out of the pocket. He could feel the pressure. I know it's a talent that he had about feeling that pressure. Haynes just doesn't seem to have it. You know what I mean? I say it. It's not the pocket presence when he gets.
It's an instinct, right?
I guess. I mean, I don't know. It's just something.
It's you even see it with.
I mean, I haven't seen
pocket
that
passes.
Yet.
Tom Brady or Peyton Manning and those guys. They're not athletic at all, right? But inside the pocket, they sit in there and they can see where the lanes come up. Because when the defensive line creates here, instead of moving a lot, they just move a little.
Yeah, it's just a little step.
Right to this
side.
Not
much. Yeah.
Right? But they always know where the space is. Haynes still is not.
And they're always keeping their heads downfield too.
Right.
Their heads always downfield, looking for the next.
And Haynes doesn't do a bad job of keeping his eyes up. He doesn't know
where the hell the ball's going to go after.
He doesn't do it. He just doesn't do a good job of creating space in the pocket. You know what I mean? And maybe part of that is reps. Obviously, that could help. But some of the guys that do it the best are instinctive at it, right?
That's what I'm saying. They just.
Look, I'm not going to sit here and bash Haynes all day because at the end of the day, I can't grade Haynes based off of the scheme that we're running today. I can't grade Haynes based off of the play calling. I can't grade Haynes based off of the opportunities that he's getting.
Well,
Haynes
is who I picked to be my offensive player of the week last week. He let me down. Let me down
by far.
I don't even know if we had an offensive player of the week last week. Alchin, I guess, is who we picked.
I do think that if there's a struggle at all offensively in the first quarter and a half, I think you're going to see Max Johnson.
Hey.
I think so.
I honestly, I think what you were saying about the checks, I think Max would do a better job with that. I think Max is a better pocket quarterback than what Haynes is right now. I think he'd be able to, in that pocket, he's going to do and slide. Because we even saw it at practice when the play did break down, Max took off and ran. He has enough athletic ability to get, maybe not the 100 yards that Haynes is going to get, but maybe, 10.
I do think he's got a little bit better feel of moving in the pocket. Now, let me tell you this, though. Max has notoriously held the ball too long. He waits till receivers are open.
And we saw Connor do the same thing last year.
But he can. I think he does a better job of moving within the pocket, which will buy him more time, right?
Yeah.
Buy him more time to hit some of those
That's
receivers down
experience,
the field.
I think, too. But
We'll see. Yeah, and it is experience, but we'll see. I do think, like I said, I think we'll see Max if the offense is struggling early, in spite of the fact that I'm not sure that it's the quarterback's fault.
well, it's not Jimbo's fault. That's because his ego's not in the way.
Either way, you got to get a spark, right? You got to get a spark.
No, if Max comes in, it's Haynes done. If Max comes in and wins the game, we win.
I mean, how do you go back?
I mean, I'm almost ready for Connor time, to be honest with you. If we lose this game, what are we doing?
If we lose this game, we're going to lose to Arkansas. And if we lose to Arkansas, you might as well let Connor play. But here's the other thing.
But what do you start? You start against what? Who's after Arkansas?
Well, Mississippi State, right?
Well, I mean, do you start them against Mississippi State, Alabama?
I mean, the question is, are you doing him a disservice by throwing him in there when he's just going to get beat up all day?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
And so that's the other side.
If we're going to play him. Let's play him.
That's the other side of the coin, right?
Sam and App.
So
I can't believe we lost that damn game.
All right, so
go ahead.
What's the offensive matchup? Our offense, their defense, offensive matchup to watch this week.
It's all coaching. It has nothing to do with matchups like players, I don't think, to me. Because my matchup is what Jimbo's play calling is going to be, like we were talking about. Is he going to do the same damn offensive plays we've been seeing the whole season, and you and I are going to have the same conversation again next week saying...
By the way, matchups brought to you by Watermelon White Claw right there. Watermelon White Claw.
That's what I'm saying. It's not a matchup, our offensive line against their defensive line, because I don't know anything about Miami's defensive line. I don't know anything about their defense. I haven't watched them play this year. It's going to be about Jimbo making changes and pushing the other team, like running the ball. Can we pound them in the face? Can we?
Look, that's definitely the number one factor. I would say that if I were to say what matchup do I want to watch, I want to see our front versus their front, the running game. Our front versus their front. I want to see.
Yeah, I feel you.
Can our guys, 5 offensive linemen, tight end, 2 tight end, whatever the situation may be, get in there and find us some room.
It's not so much the offensive lineman. It's what plays Jimbo's calling with them. If he's putting 5 offensive linemen up there and they're putting 6, 7 guys in the box and Jimbo's still trying to run the ball on that, it's not our offensive line's fault that you can't run against 7 defensive players.
And as you look at the tape, for all those folks that are sitting there bashing the offensive line last week, if you go look at the damn tape, they had more guys in the box than they could block. It wasn't their fault.
Checks I'm talking about. What is he checking down to? Is he saying
it wasn't their fault?
They got 7 in the box.
Were they perfect? No.
We're going to have to run this play.
But no. There's also the alternative is to bring more into the box on your side, right?
I got you, yeah.
And that's my point. So to me, that's the matchup. Can we hold up front against their front? To me,
yes, I think we can. Front on front, yeah, we're fine.
If we can establish the running game, I think that offense is going to look tons better. Not just a little better. They're going to look exponentially better. Okay. Because all of a sudden, the deep pass will come back, right? The play action and over-the-top stuff will come back.
I'm not even worried about the damn deep ball right now. I just want to see first downs. I want to see a drive, actual 12, 13, 14 play drive.
But how do you do that? You do it in the running game.
Yeah, absolutely. Running game, play action passes over the middle. You get 4 or 5 yards on first down, then you either run it again. It gives you options. We don't have options right now.
No, absolutely. So but that's my point, and that's why that's my matchup.
Okay, that's why I feel you.
How about defensive matchup to watch?
Well, it's got to be like you were saying, our secondary. I think this is one of the top quarterback prospects in the nation right here. We're going against, and it's not just so much. I think our pass rush is going to be a big deal right here. I want to see if our D line not so much stands up to their offensive line, but actually gets pressure. And I want to see that dynamic player. I don't know if it's going to be Diggs or Jackson or whoever it's going to be, but somebody cause havoc. I want to see turnovers. I'm not seeing. That's why I'm asking you. I don't see it. And
I do think it's a secondary. I think it's a secondary, but I think it's, look, and I said it earlier, right? Antonio Johnson going to do against their slot receiver, who's their best guy, right? How are those outside corners when they're manned up on their own going to do? But not only that,
See, I think
Off of
Antonio's
the-
a bad option on that slot. I think they need a better cover guy on there.
No.
Antonio's just
Antonio is one of our best cover
You think
guys.
so? You don't think
100%.
you put Chappelle or
No. To me, that's the guy you use on a guy like
that
Restrepo.
guy's slot is usually pretty quick, you know?
That's what I want to see. I thought Antonio was one of our best cover guys last year out of that slot. It really made slot receivers like they had to work to try to get a catch.
I remember mostly seeing Antonio blitzing and causing havoc and like right there at the line of scrimmage and blocking down passes.
He's in coverage a ton, and he's one of our better cover guys, if you ask me.
All right.
And that matchup is important. But then here's the thing with the secondary also. I talked about it earlier. They like to use a lot of bunch sets. How do we do? And what did I say last week? Who do we not cover ever?
Tight end.
Tight end. They like to use their tight end.
Mm-hmm.
So coming out of those bunch sets where they do a lot of things and try to get that guy wide
Who's
open.
covering the tight end? Is it our linebacker or who's covering?
To me, it
Cooper?
should be the safety. It should
Which
be
one?
the other safety.
Damani
or it's Damani
Gilbert?
or it's Gilbert, right? You should have a safety covering that tight end and let your linebackers play.
Right.
But whatever the scheme is, they haven't been covering them. How are they going to adjust this week to a team that's going to try a lot of different things with bunches and different things to get that tight end open in space? Right. And I think that matchup right there and the use of those formations and how they react to that, to the crossing and the different things that they like to do with Miami's offense.
Yeah.
Can we adjust from last week where we were losing guys in that process? Can we adjust and start to figure out communication in the secondary, talking as you're passing them off, making sure that, all those things are still getting covered, right? That's a big step.
Right.
That's a big step from last week to this week. And that's the matchup I want to see. And with a quarterback that can get him the ball, by the way.
Gotcha.
Right?
Yeah.
All right, so this might be a very difficult question. Offensive player of the week.
Max Johnson.
No.
That's my offensive player of the week.
All right, sounds good.
Are we even sure Haynes is starting this game?
No, but here's the thing. You're going to be wrong 2 weeks in a row. So, offensive player of the week this week has to go back to the running game. It's got to be AJ.
Yeah.
It has to be.
Okay.
Now, I'll tell you, if I had to go, well, I'll save that one here
Go ahead.
for a minute.
Yeah.
Defensive player of the week.
God, if he comes back, I'd love to see McKinley Jackson, but I'm sure you're going to go secondary. You're going Antonio or something, aren't you?
Boy, if McKinley Jackson plays, that's a good pick. That's a really good pick.
I want to see that interior pressure, but I've been saying that all season. I haven't seen it, so. Yeah, I'm going to go McKinley. Where are you going, Antonio?
I'm going Antonio.
Yeah, I figured.
I'm going Antonio, and I'm going Antonio because
he's covering that slot.
And not only that, right? I thought he's had good games the last 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
I just have a feeling he's about to ramp it up another step. And
well, I mean,
he's got to be one of those leaders that takes responsibility after this loss and brings this team and puts it on its back a little bit.
He's
right?
so athletic, but he has to play in control of himself. I mean, that pass interference call last week, I think he almost got another one in the Sam game or something, but he's playing in control. You know what I'm saying? He's so talented. Just
and
down a hair, because he's heard all the hype this year. Last year was a great season.
And that's my point, right? So I think to a certain extent, that hype maybe wasn't the greatest thing for him to hear all off season, right? Yeah. But at the end of the day, you still see the talent and the flashes and things, and not just flashes, right? I mean, he's still really good. Mm-hmm. I just expect that he's going to turn it up because he has to be the leader of that defense. Everybody talks Damani, and Damani, is senior and all that for sure. But Damani's not half as talented as Antonio, right? He's not that guy. He doesn't have the coverage ability. He's not as athletic. He's not all those things. He's a great player. But he's a big physical safety, right?
Yeah.
And he needs to be playing in the box. Antonio has to step it up. I expect him to have a big game.
Who's your defensive MVP for the first 2 games?
Fidel Diggs.
Yeah, mine too. That's what I'm saying.
I don't think it's even that hard of a question.
I think he's played. Cooper's played well. Johnson's been
Yeah, I
expected more.
No, Johnson's been good.
I expected more of Damani.
Another guy, Gilbert. honestly.
Yeah, Gilbert. I think Gilbert's outshined Damani on the first 2 games.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Because Damani just seems like he gets lost out there or something. I don't know. He's not in the plays like I think he should be.
Yeah, they need to bring him down into the box and let him blitz him.
Because he looked better in practice when we watched him. He was getting after it, and now it's
so
it's like they're getting timid.
But here's the thing, right? He's doing so many different things on this defense because they keep rotating him back, and then now he's in the he's the deep guy. And then you rotate him into the front. All those different things, right? And at some point, you just got to let him loose, right? Let him be comfortable. Let him do what he's good at. Forget all this multiplicity and everything else.
Yeah.
Put him in a position to be successful at what he's good at. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Blitz him, put him in the box, let him play.
That doesn't seem to be Jimbo's strong point at all. Seriously, it does not seem.
Well, in this case, it's not Jimbo because Jimbo doesn't even know what the defense
Dirk,
does.
I mean, either way, but Jimbo, either offensively, defensively, we don't seem to put our guys in situations to succeed.
Go ahead. All right, so surprise performer for the offense.
I've already said it. It's my player.
No, surprise performer.
It's going to be a surprise if he plays. I'm going Max Johnson, man. I'm going to call Big Bad Brad and say, Big Bad Brad.
All right. Big Bad Brad.
Your boy, he's getting in this week. He's going to win the game for us.
Okay. Well, once again, another wrong. So, surprise performer. I don't know how much of a surprise it is, but it's going to be Evan Stewart.
It's not a surprise. You pick Evan Stewart like every other week, don't you?
Well, I'm saying it's a surprise because, he's sort of frustrated. He didn't have a great game last week. And like I said earlier, my player of the game is A-Chain, so that means the running game. I expect Evan Stewart to have a big game. That's my surprise. That's why I'm calling him my surprise performer because he's going to have a big game.
A-Chain to have a big game. Expect Evan Stewart to have a big game. So I'm guessing the Aggies win by 30.
No.
I'm just saying.
Surprise performer for this defense. And we'll get into score predictions here in a second.
Surprise performer for the defense is going to be. I'm going to go Damani. Let's go Damani because I think they're going to throw the ball around. Maybe he'll come up with a pick. And I just want to see the defense get some turnovers. I'll say Damani. You said him earlier, Stewart.
I do. I like Stewart up front, and I'm hoping that he gets a lot more reps this week, and especially in rotational things in the passing downs. Maybe moving Adelier inside, letting Stewart come back outside, have Stewart and Diggs on the outside.
That's another one that we forgot about, Adelier.
But Adelier is the guy who I'm going to say surprise for me. He's played really well.
Yeah, he's played well.
But I expect him to have an even bigger game this week. I want to see more for him.
Good pick.
All right, so the score prediction, and here it is, right? We're talking 5.5 is the spread. We're talking 45.5 now is the over.
I don't even know what the line is now. I mean, I think it's at 40. Let's say 46. Doesn't matter.
All right. So what do you expect the score to be?
My confidence is way low on the Aggies.
All right.
I mean, if we win this game, I don't see the Aggies covering by any stretch of the imagination right now. I mean, I'm talking. We scored 14 points against App State. We couldn't get on the field offensively. We couldn't get off the field defensively. Did Miami watch the tape? Let's say, did we even score 20? 17. I almost think Miami might beat us. I say we win 17-14 like last week's score, except we're on top. But our kicker can't make a damn kick, so I don't know if we can kick a field goal.
That's not a bad prediction. You know what? I'm sure anybody that's watching the podcast and has been watching this podcast for a while understands that I'm going to go, believes that I'm going to go Miami in this game, right? After everything I've said.
Well, and how can you, if you have A-Chain having a great game, Evan Stewart having a great game, who's going to throw Evan Stewart the ball and have his great game? Are they going to run
obviously
whoever's a halfback option pass? Halfback option pass.
Whoever's playing quarterback.
A-Chain's going to be throwing the ball downfield. Ananias?
Take the under.
Yeah.
Let me repeat that again.
Hammer it.
Hammer the under.
Hammer.
Having said that,
I'm taking the over.
I expect the defense to play a lot better. I really do. I expect them to match up better. And I am hopeful, and maybe this is the last week I'm hopeful, but I am hopeful that Jimbo gets into his two tight end sets and brings the running game with him.
I'm hoping Jimbo lets somebody else call the plays.
Well, that's not going to happen.
I want to see something different. I want to see some excitement.
Here it is. You ready?
Yeah.
Aggies. 21-10.
Aggies?
Aggies.
That's a cover.
You're high. 21.
You been drinking that White Claw over there or something?
Yeah,
Did
exactly.
you watch the game last week?
I did. 21-10 Aggies.
Hey man, this is where I think our season right now is pretty much where it starts. We're playing Miami. We lost last week.
It's in the balance right here.
Yeah, I mean we had a bad week against Vanderbilt and we still beat them, but you know that game could have gone either way a couple years ago. I mean we've had these kind of games before. We have the talent. Hopefully we have the coaching. Do we have the faith?
Look, I didn't know, and to be honest with you, watching Jimbo and his presser doesn't inspire a lot of faith. He looks beaten almost, right?
Well,
He looks
I'm sure
beaten.
he is. These
and
Aggies are pretty tough. Look at everybody. I mean, we're being easy on him.
So he doesn't inspire a ton of confidence right now. But I gotta think he's smarter than. I don't know why I gotta think that. He's got to be smarter than what he was last week.
You got any picks this week? Any of the picks?
Get your bets in.
Let's do it. Rocket fire.
All right, here we go. Georgia minus 24.5 at South Carolina.
Ooh, Georgia. I'm all over Georgia, man.
All over Georgia. Over under 52?
I'm not going to touch that.
Yep, good deal. OU minus 11.5 at Nebraska. I'll tell you what, that's my game of the week.
Who's coaching Nebraska?
Yeah, nobody knows.
Taking OU.
Yeah, OU
Big
all
time.
day. That's the big one.
What's the over-under?
65.
Ooh.
I don't know.
I don't either.
BYU Oregon minus 3.5, 57.5.
I watched BYU play last week. I was impressed. I like that quarterback. He might have his receivers back.
I can't believe Oregon's favored. I'd take BYU all day.
Yeah, all day.
Ole Miss minus 16 at Georgia Tech. 61.5 over under.
16 seems like a lot of points.
Under. That's what I'm going.
Okay. I mean, I was going to take Georgia Tech. That's why I'm playing against Clemson. Clemson's defense is good. Georgia Tech got beat, but I saw some good things.
Penn State minus 3 at Auburn. 49 over under.
I like the under.
I love the under. All day, every day.
Yeah.
Alabama minus 49, UL Monroe. 60.5 over under.
I'll probably take the over.
Yeah, I don't really love any part of this game.
No, I don't either.
To be quite honest.
I don't know. I think Alabama, maybe the first half line I have to look at it.
Texas State at NC State. NC State's minus 10.5.
Texas who?
Texas Tech.
Sorry, that's just State.
Yeah.
Texas Tech State's minus 10. I'm taking Tech, man.
I'll take, give me the points. Give me
What's the over in that one?
55.5.
I might take the over in that too. I don't know.
Is Tech's quarterback back? That's a big question.
Well, you know that offensive coordinator there, they like to get the ball downfield.
San Diego State at Utah. Utah's minus 21.
I'm on the Utes.
That's the same Utah team that lost to Florida, but yeah.
I'm on the Utes.
Utes.
Yeah.
Let's see. Mississippi State minus 2 at LSU. 55
Give me
over
Leach,
under.
baby. Give me Leach all day, every day on that one.
Leach is the right call, but I wouldn't be surprised if LSU looks a lot better than they did.
Oh yeah, Brian Cosby
week
coach.
1. So be careful. I wouldn't put too much money on it. Is I guess what I'm saying.
Put our minimum 500.
500. Kansas at Houston. Houston minus 10.
Taking Houston.
I'm taking Kansas.
Yeah,
Give me the points.
God damn.
Questions from the tailgate brought to you by Frida Homes. Building Aggie Dreams. FridaHomes.com. Will we see Max or Connor in the game?
Yes.
Yes. One of them's coming in.
Absolutely.
Unless one of them's coming in.
Yeah, I mean, unless Haynes is just doing something. I don't even know if Haynes is going to start. I'm not sure.
Over 150 yards passing.
Yeah.
Over 100 yards rushing.
Yeah.
Sounds like you're on my bandwagon too.
I'm not saying it's going to be 100 yards A-chain. I'm saying the quarterback might be running for his life.
Yeah, I think both of those.
If you look at the numbers from last week,
but
Haynes
last
had
week
carries.
Last week it didn't happen, right?
Well, Haynes had more carries last week than A-chain, I think.
Gig 'em. Whoop! Aggies. AP Corey signing out from the tailgate. We'll see y'all Saturday.